Hello and welcome to For the Art with Holy Basil, the podcast for emerging artists. I'm your host, Holy Basil. This podcast is here to contribute to a future that elevates creative minds by touching on taboo topics, sharing lifestyle hacks, and diving into personal artist stories. Whether you're at the start of your journey or you're well on your way to having a full-time career with your art, this podcast is for you. I truly believe the world will be a better place when more people are connected to their creative gifts and boldly sharing them with the world. To me, being an artist is the highest form of alchemy. So thank you for joining me, for choosing this path, and allowing this podcast to be a guide on your creative journey. And we're back with another episode of For the Art. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this episode. I'm freaking excited to get into this one. But firstly, if you aren't watching the videos, if you're not watching I'm recording myself with a video at the same time I'm recording the audio. I look freaking cute. I look cute. Look at my hat. It's a little bit retarded because of, not retarded, shouldn't say that word. It's a bit awkward and funky because of my ear headphones that's over my head, but the hat, it's so cute. I'm getting dressed up every single time I do these podcast episodes because why not? I also I realized that in the very first episode of doing this, my headphones just fell off. Whoops, give me 1 second, you guys. Okay, so I realized at the very start of this episode, I shared what we were going to be talking about on future episodes, and I realized that I didn't even dive into half the things. Okay, so I just want to go over this quickly before we get started into anything else. Some other topics that I'm really wanting to get into, and also get feature other key people onto this podcast to have conversations with. I'm just gonna stream through them all and just share them. So I want to talk about AI versus the artists. I want to talk about neurodivergence in the music industry. I want to talk about women who are in the music industry but doing alternative, in really weird different kind of genres, like rock music, for instance. Not really that supportive. Well, it hasn't been in the past very supportive of female artists or full female bands, the rock industry. Okay, so building a fan base as an independent artist, marketing strategies, gigs and touring as an independent singer-songwriter, getting onto festival lineups, DJing, electronic music scene, and also music production itself. So we're going to be getting into that in later episodes. And so again, please do your best with getting on there. Just leave a review, just leave a little review, and a rating and everything like that. And please subscribe, because doing that is going to help me to be able to get sponsors for this podcast in the future, and also get all of these amazing people on this podcast that I have lined up. So on to what we're going to be chatting about today. We are going to be chatting about the creative process for the song that I wrote, Over the Edge. And I want to do this to help give you guys perspective on how long the creative process can take sometimes, and to also give insight into my songwriting style and how I've developed some things for myself, just to be able to give you guys some insight and perspective on how you could also evolve with your songwriting as well. So yeah, let's get into it without further ado. I also just want to mention quickly, if you're not a musician or you're not a songwriter, then just listen anyway, because I feel there could be some really cool stories in this and some really cool insights that will help you with whatever your specific creative kind of niche or medium is. That's the word I was looking for. So I've actually got a piece of paper here that's some of the first mapping out of the verses of Over the Edge. If you haven't listened to that song, what are you doing? Go and listen to it. I really love it. Okay, so this song, firstly, this song had the chorus has basically always stayed the same. The melody just changed slightly when I went into the studio to produce it, but the whole that whole thing over the edge, take me to the deep, that was just, it was just there and for 6 months, 6 freaking months, I had this song, this chorus in my head And like obviously it was a little bit slightly different if I can remember like how it actually goes. I can't remember. I've sung it the other way so many times now, but it was slightly different. But just that whole chorus, it was just like in my head, like all is quiet underneath. Like it was just in my head and in my brain, and I could not get it out for 6 months. It was just bothering me because I could not write goddamn verses for it that I was like actually happy with and I was actually like stoked with. So oh my god, it was a whole thing. And I was like, I knew the song was going to be a drum and bass track, and I was like, maybe if I just start like producing it and start like drum and bassing it out, then the verses will just come to me and it'll just happen. That wasn't exactly the case. I actually took this chorus to my mentor, which is what I do a lot of the time. Well, I show her every song just because like I want it to be the best that it can like possibly be, and I really value her opinion on things. And then obviously when I'm in the studio producing it and stuff like that, I'm working with producers, the song gets, you know, reworked again in ways too. And they also like give me their opinions on like what could make the song even better as well. So it's really only like going through the hands of, I don't know, not even 5 people. But anyway, so yeah, so I took this song to her and I was just like, okay, I've got this chorus in my head and this is how it goes, and I just, for the life of me, cannot write any verses. So we just like, I just jotted down different things, like as you can see on this piece of paper here, like we had all these like lines printed out that were just kind of like the overarching thing of like what I kind of had, and then we just underlined the ones that like seemed like they told a story the most and they like stuck out the most, which were things are not what we've been told they are, we don't know what's there over the edge, we've been told untruths, the only way to undo the truth is to leap over the edge, don't hold back, existence. So like as you can see already, if you guys have listened to the song, you'll like hear some similar lyrics, but like they weren't written down the way that the song ended up. They were like all a squiggly bunch of a mess. And I read through this last night and I was like, because I found this the other day and I read through it last night and I was just like, half of these lines that I wrote here in pencil are like not even in the song. But the thing is that the lyrics that you write down, you can like write a bunch of things and then like it could lead to the next thing that is like that line that needs to be in the song. So a really amazing process that I've learned for writing songs is to pick like the core theme. So like say I've already got this this chorus of like what I want to talk about, and what I wanted to like talk about and what I wanted to base this song off of is the concept of like shape-shifting our DNA. And I was like, how do I write about this concept of shape-shifting human DNA, but like also make it really relatable for people to like, I don't know, because I feel like it's a concept and it's not super relatable for people, I don't think. So it was just like getting really specific, and I really wanted to like tell the story of like how we're actually more powerful than what we know, and like what if we're only just scraping the surface on like our abilities of what we're capable of in this lifetime and our overall existence. So that was really important for me to share and to say. So what I did from there was like, okay, well, these are like the core themes of what I want to tell people and what I want to say. So let's just like go through and like write down like the next thing that comes to my brain and the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, instead of trying to like write a verse and, you know, write one line and then the next line and then the next line. Like just write a bunch of splurge, just write a line, the next thing that comes to your brain, write that down, next thing that comes to your brain, write that down, and just keep writing and writing and writing until you're like, okay, cool, like this is about all I've got. And then what we did was we just kind of like went over, okay, cool, what's like the really strong lines, underline the lines of the song that's really strong, and then like rearrange things until it kind of like makes sense. And yeah, so that's what we did. Like in that personal, like in that session, we didn't really like get any specific, we kind of maybe had like mapped out what the first verse could be, but we never like really like honed in on the thing and like completed a verse. So it just gave me like ideas though of like how to like get unstuck and like get over a writer's block, because like, I don't know, writing about the concept of shape-shifting DNA is like really crazy, but it's like what things could I think of that were like related to that in ways. And for me, it's just kind of like, I don't know, being underwater, chameleons and like octopuses, how they shapeshift their DNA. Yeah, and there was just like all these words that kind of came to me of also just like dreams. And I really, in the verses, I know I wanted to like tell a story between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind, because those things are, I think, what like helps us to like break out of like where we're stuck and actually break into something that like gives us more supernatural abilities, is like when you can like hack your subconscious. So I wanted the verses to be this conversation between your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. Yeah, and I feel like my writing style is like being able to write in a way where it's like obvious but it's not. And I think anyway, depending on like what your level of consciousness is at, people are going to interpret the song differently, like, yeah, depending on what level of consciousness they're at and like what they're going through at the time. Like my grandma listened to the song, she's like, oh, is it about love? So you know, like that's just like, that was like very obvious to me that like, oh well, that's like her level of like understanding on like a certain thing, and she's probably not thinking about like shapeshifting her DNA. Like she's probably mostly focused on love, so she's going to interpret the song like it's about love. Yeah, and then for me, obviously I'm thinking about things like a whole nother level, so that's, yeah, that gives like a totally different perspective on the song. So how did I get to finishing the verses, you may ask? Well, my pretties. I got to finishing the verses. Okay, so I vividly remember this. So I think it was the night of, I think it was the night after I had that session with my mentor. I sat on the couch, not this couch, a different couch at a different home, but I sat on the couch and I was just like typing. I was just typing away like just different things that was like coming through. And I actually really like, I like writing, firstly just like get all my ideas out and just like splurge a bunch of things, but then I really enjoy using my laptop and typing to like put everything together, because I can easily just like shift the lines around and like read it out, and if it doesn't work then I just change it again. It's super easy. So yeah, I just remember I was just this always happens to me where I'll start typing something out, and then like if it's like, I don't know, this is like this thing that happens where like it works and like the melody just comes to me as I'm typing it out, and then it just like works, and I'm just like, oh, this is the thing, obviously, like that it's meant to be, because it just like stuck, and the melody and like the way that the lines were meant to be like mapped out, it all worked. So yeah, and fun fact is that the second verse was actually meant to be the first verse, and the first verse was originally written to be the second verse, but it wasn't until I got into the studio with the producer that I was working with, and yeah, like I got in, and I think it was like this second time, like, 'cause I did like a really basic vocals, and then we went to like do the song properly, the verses were changed around, and I was just like he changed the verses around, but like accidentally, and I was like, no, wait, this actually works better. Because what you kind of want to do with songs that I've learned anyway is like the first verse is meant to be like an introduction to things, but the second verse is like meant to develop the story more. So I feel like it really worked out for me. But yeah, I had so many different versions. Like I'll read you guys out some of these other things that I wrote here, that just like, and I had so many other versions like on my laptop of this song. But yeah, some of the things that I wrote is just like, last time I explored the unknown waters, last man to explore the waters, never made it home. I can't hold back, comfortable living a lie in your house of star. Like, I floated my submarine, DNA is changing. Like, none of these lyrics made it into the song, but the fact that like I was able to just like write this out and then like elaborate more onto it. Yeah, and I just feel like it's just like a matter of like, you don't have to like write it well or write it perfectly the first time. Like you can write a song and do so many different revisions and so many different versions of it, and literally like keep changing. If there's a line that like doesn't quite match, like keep changing it until you find something that works, or keep shifting the song around until you find something that works. I think like maybe if I even spent like more extra time on Over the Edge, like maybe I could have come up with some even better lyrics, but I wrote it how it is, and I was pretty happy with how it went at that point in time. And like I always knew it was going to be a drum and bass track, and I was like really stoked with how the production turned out and everything as well. So is there anything more that I want to share on like the songwriting process? Not right now, but I will just share like a bit more about like the actual, like, let's go into the production of the song actually. So yeah, so I had all the lyrics mapped out. The chords were still honestly like a bit shaky for me personally. Like I had some chords, but they were just not the right chords. And that's okay. Like I was totally like I wasn't super set on the chords, and I think that's why I also went into the studio with this particular producer, Josh Beatty, who's a Gold Coast producer. I went into the studio with him, and like he's amazing at piano and all the things. So it was really cool to just map that out with him, and yeah, just figure out the chords and just things to work. And he actually helped me like shift the over the edge, take me to the deep. It was something else before. Yeah, it was something else. I still can't remember it, but it was something else. But he helped me change it, like take me to the deep. He's like, that's where my ears want to go. So I was like, okay, I think that sticks better and it suits my vocals better anyway. So we're gonna do that. So that's what we ended up doing. And yeah, so sorry, I just had a mind blank. So yeah, so I was in the studio with him. So fun fact, I actually only had 2 days in the studio with Josh to record this song and nut it out. He was basically just like, okay, I really love this song. Let me like make a version of it, and like let's just work together, let's just work together, and if you hate the song, then like it doesn't cost you anything, but like let me just like nut this out with you and see if it's gonna work. So that's what we did. Oh, like, I just want to say that that's like a genius thing to do if you're a producer, or like you are looking for a producer and you're not quite sure about them yet. Like that's the thing that like really sold me to work with Josh. Like I was already sold, but like this is like an extra thing that I was like, this is so smart, because he was literally like, let's have a day in the studio together, cost free, and then from there we'll build more on like if you love the song, then like let's keep going, and then it will be like the regular fee, and if you don't like it, then we scrap it and it's all good and we don't have to work on it. So like that was genius, because I was like, oh cool, I just got like a day in the studio with him to like map this thing out and like see what he does with it, and then decide from there. Like he sent me the demo and I was like, I mean, it was just like everything that I like imagined it to be. I was like, it's going to be drum and bass, it's going to be like ethereal and like these different things. And I told like, he just really got the vibe and got the vision, which was really, really cool. So yeah, so that was amazing. Fun fact is that like so I only spent 2 days in the studio with him on this song, because then I had to go to America because I just decided that was the thing that I needed to do for 3 months, and just travel by myself in America and Hawaii for 3 months. So yeah, no regrets. I loved pretty much every single minute of it. There was definitely some hard times, but it was mostly really cool. So yeah, the whole time that he was working on it, I was like overseas, and he was just sending me like the different versions. I've got somewhere like in my archives of my social media posts that like me listening to the song for the first time and everything, which is like really cool and really wholesome. I always feel like it's a really good indicator for me when I'm hearing a song from a producer, and like I'm just like, there's always like little tweaks and stuff like that, but like overall, if you're listening to it and you're just like vibing with it and you're loving it, like it's a fucking good song. Like if you're vibing with it, it's a good song. Like I used to like put stuff out because like I just was like, I need to put stuff out, and like I wasn't like super 100% happy with it. And I think that song, Over the Edge, was like the first time that I remember like hearing a song of mine and like hearing the production and being like fucking stoked about it and like so happy about it. I'm like, I am, from this point forward, like I am never releasing another song unless like I get this same feeling of like I'm so happy with this song. So yeah, that was like the same thing with Creative Queen, which I'm just gonna do like a whole nother episode on Creative Queen, because that's like a whole other thing in and of itself, and the whole process with that song and the story behind that one. But yeah, so that was that. And then like, yeah, we ended up doing the revisions. I ended up releasing that song when I was at South by Southwest in Austin, Texas. So that was really, really cool. And also having my friend Lucy Gallant and meeting another singer-songwriter artist, Karima, as well. And we just like hung out the whole time, and she's from Austin. So that was like really awesome to like have some creative musical girlies. Like we were like our own imaginary girl band, which was like super fun. But released that song in Austin, Texas, and honestly, like my marketing and promo for that song was literally just like me posting on the internet and like posting on TikTok and posting on Instagram, being like, everyone go listen to my song, and like that was my marketing and promo, thinking like, oh, I'll easily get over 1,000 streams on this song. To this date, on my Spotify, it's still saying this song is sitting at under 1,000 streams. So clearly I need to do some more marketing work, but it's not like, I don't think like the social, I could be wrong, but I don't really think that like posting your song on social media to like promote it for it to get streams is like that big of like a marketing like thing. I think it's really great like if you've already got a really big fan base, but if you're wanting to like up your streams just by like, and getting people to listen to your song just by posting it on social media, I think like majority of the time like it's just going to be your friends and family that are like picking it up and like actually listening to it. And I still believe this and I still feel this thing from when I used to do a lot of like business training, is that people need to consume, I think it's like something like 100 hours. It was something like crazy, like a certain amount of hours. If I ask my friend, he'll be able to tell me the exact thing for this, but people need to like consume X amount of hours. Let's just call it like 100 hours of your content, for them to actually want to like buy anything from you. And like for us as artists, it isn't always like necessarily like buying something from us, like, but it's also like clicking out of Instagram to then go onto Spotify and like pick up the song and listen to it. Like how many artists have you like seen their song on Instagram or TikTok or whatever, and then actually like exited out of that app and stopped scrolling and like actually gone and actively listened to that song? Like I think it was like Sophie Powers. It was one of her songs that like I like watched it and watched like her videos would just like pop up everywhere. Like her videos popped up so much, and then I went onto her feed and I like looked at all of her videos and stuff like that. And even then I still didn't go and like listen actively like to her song after viewing her content. But what I did was I went like, I had that song stuck in my head like after a couple weeks, and I was like, I'm just gonna like listen to the full version. So like sometimes it's like that thing, I think that's why you've got to like post on social media a lot of times to like promote your song, is like to be like, if you've got a good audience and a fan base, and like it's going to be really easy to like up those streams and like get those plays and build a more of like a community that's like actively listening to your music. But if you're just starting out, I genuinely feel like it's gonna like, you've got to put in like 10 times more work and effort of just like posting and sharing and like keeping up with promoting yourself. But I think like marketing is also a really big thing. I think Sophie Powers, I'm pretty sure that she put like a lot of money into like marketing that stuff through social media and some other ways as well, because like I'm like, why doesn't her post show up for me anymore? But like all those like ones where she was releasing that song Better on Mute and like some other songs, they would like show up on my feed all the time. So yeah, that's a little like side chunk for that one as well. I actually, if there's anything that I would change about Over the Edge, I think I would try and make the story like a little bit less ambiguous. I did find it like kind of hard to, like, I really love this song and I found it hard to like market it and like promote it in a way where it was like POV, this is da 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 da, because I feel like the concept is like so ambiguous. Like, oh, I wrote a song about shapeshifting my DNA. Like I probably could just put more stuff up there like that. But yeah, I definitely need to like promote this specific song a lot more too. But it is what it is, and I did it, and it's cool and it's good. So yeah, I want to say as well, like just recapping on this song, like just realize that like when you're writing a song, like there is usually like multiple versions. Like there's all these stories, and I used to feel like, oh, I'm only a good like songwriter if I can like write a song in like 10 minutes and like get everything right straight away. And like that's not always the case. So I think like, yes, there's these stories of like, oh, you know, I did this song and I sat down and I wrote it in 10 minutes, and then everyone's like, oh my god, you wrote this song in 10 minutes, it's a brilliant song. But like, what about all the songs? Like I feel like those songs get like elevated and praised a lot, or like you hear little stories about them, but like what about the songs that just literally take like so long to write, but they also turn out like incredible amazing songs, but it just takes a little bit longer for the lyrics to come through or whatever it is. Or maybe I've got quite a few songs at the moment where like there's really amazing choruses, but like I just haven't got the verses quite there yet. And actually, here's a little like theory or something to ponder. Okay, so what if when you write a song, you've got like, and there's like a chorus or something, but then like the bigger picture of the story, like you can't quite map that out yet because like your consciousness needs to expand, or like you need to like build more of like a mental or an emotional awareness to be able to like channel through and like write some verses for it. Because like so like as an example, this song Over the Edge, like I had that chorus in my head for ages, but like even just the concept of like shape-shifting my DNA, I was just like, I don't really know what exactly that means. And maybe I had to like ponder on it for 6 months and like question it for it to like come through a little bit more. And even like the full answer and the full way of like cracking the code of how to like actually do that hasn't quite like hit me yet. But like what had hit me was like, oh, it's just like a conversation between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind, and it just goes through it's just a conversation between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind that like helps us to be able to like level up and even just like tap into like more of our abilities and superhuman powers that we have like beyond the limitations of just being like physical little earth beings with our hands all cute and small and stuff like that. So yeah, so that is that. I just want to quickly go over and just see if there's anything else that I want to share specifically about this song in particular. Oh yeah, okay, so like, do I want to share what's next? Okay, yeah. So then after Over the Edge, I've now released Creative Queen, and like what you will notice, I hope you notice anyway, is that there is a story unfolding, but the story is not particularly in a chronological order. Not at this point anyway. We're kind of like laying the foundations with these songs that are getting released this year and a little bit next year, and then we'll be going deeper into the story that's being told. So yeah, if you're writing songs and releasing songs, maybe consider this as a way to release them in like a chronological order, or like a storytelling order that's going to be putting things out there. But my goal with all of these new songs that I'm putting out is to just like have more of a bigger budget to be able to like give the songs the reach and give these songs to like the audience that's like ready for it and like ready to pick it up, because I know my audience is out there, and I just need like some fucking really good marketing strategies and like some fucking help. I just need some help, and I just need to like figure out the best ways to like learn how to market this beyond just like posting on social media. So yeah, so that is a wrap for this episode of For the Art with Holy Basil. Thanks for listening. See you guys next time. And that's a wrap on another episode of For the Art. As always, if you enjoyed this episode, please remember to leave a rating, a comment, a review, and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you're tuning in there. Also remember, don't be a gatekeeper. Send this episode to a fellow artist who would really enjoy what we covered today. If you want to reach out with any questions or topics that you'd like me to cover in future episodes, then you can find my details in the description. Until next time, take care of yourself and keep doing it for the art.